Hey y'all, and welcome to episode 11 of the Unseen Strands podcast, a crochet and fiber arts related podcast, where I, your host Mo, am visually impaired and will be weaving strands of the rest of my life in. Of course, this week we are going to be a little less on crochet and fiber arts. Well, we'll still be in the fiber arts, I guess, but we will be going over the Shepherd's Harvest Festival that I went to this past weekend up in Minnesota. So anyways, guys, let's get started. So basically, I will be talking about my weekend this past weekend in reverse, since I know you'll all want to hear about Sunday rather than the rest of the weekend. Since it was my anniversary, I did have to please the hubby and do some things that he would enjoy and not just the Shepherd's Harvest Festival, which is of course the thing that I enjoyed. But anyways, let's go ahead and start off with Sunday. So yeah, if you have seen my Instagram, you will have seen my major spoiler of the fact that I got to meet Amber from Yarn Hoarder. I mean, can you all believe it? Okay, so I knew Steven from Leading Men Fiber Arts was going to be there, and I know they are friends in the real world or whatever, because they do knitting retreats or whatever together. Or I know I've only been watching Steven for maybe a month now, so it hasn't been that many episodes, but him being related into the world of theater and things, and I'm a former actress, I guess, and theater lover. Like, since we got our new van, we still have satellite radio for about another month or so. And so we actually listened to the Broadway channel for most of the trip that we were there. We pretty much listened to either Broadway or to Comedy Greats, I think. I don't know what the channels are because my husband controls that part of things. But yeah, we were listening to a lot of Broadway things. And so it's just kind of special to me to have those little theater connections to people, although I didn't actually mention that to him, but I was just totally starstruck when I found out that Amber was there. And like, I expected Steven there because his yarn shop dye company was being represented, and I had watched his podcast and he said that he was going to be there. But yeah, I did not expect Amber to be there, and oh my gosh, just total. And I'm not a person that normally would go up to people, and it was really, really difficult for me to do so because, yeah, blind girl trying to identify people and tell them that, yeah, she watches you, yeah, it doesn't really go together. So it was pretty much beneficial for me, for Amber to be there, because I could exactly pinpoint where they were sitting, because Amber, I love you, and your voice is amazing, and I can pick it out if I know that I'm looking for it. Because I heard that voice, I'm like, oh my god, that is Amber of Yarn Hoarder, and I know that she's walking around with Steven. So yeah, I knew that they were over there because Steven's partner had told me that they were just sitting over there on the, I think he said benches, but I think were just chairs, on a little, like, 2 booths over from where the Leading Men Fiber Arts little booth section was. But yeah, so I went up to them, and this was actually one of the last things. So of course I'm talking to you all in reverse for the entire weekend. But yeah, we pretty much had gone over there to get some of the Leading Men yarn before we left, and that's when I found out that they were sitting over there. So we were going to get that yarn and then leave, because we have a 4-hour drive back home, and we still would have to stop and get some food. Sorry, screen reader, turning my phone off. I thought you were already off phone. Oh well. So we lost my train of thought. But yeah, so we were just going to get that yarn and get something for the boys. They had fudge there, so we ended up getting the boys some fudge, and then we were going to head home because we had the 4-hour drive and had to pick something up because we were not going to get home till like 8-9 o'clock at night. And so, yeah, I was just like, my husband's like, I think we should just go, because neither one of us, he's got social anxiety issues, and then I'm a blind person. So yeah, I don't normally interrupt people or try to introduce myself, but I couldn't resist, and I was shaking like the entire time. And I would have loved to have actually like talked to them more, but I pretty much got my photo, and then it was like, I really have to go, but I would love to just sit down and talk to you guys. But yeah, not going to happen this time around, I guess. Maybe when Steven is in Ames, which is the closer fiber festival to me. It actually was closer to me back before I moved, but I didn't even know it existed then. And I'm not sure it was actually in Ames then, because I know last year it was in Ames and maybe the year before that. But then when I was looking up it's like history, it was in other places before that, because I think it's more of a developing little wool and sheep festival. But yeah, that's Father's Day weekend, so I'll get to do, I guess, a fiber thing maybe every Mother's Day and Father's Day weekend. I guess we'll see. But yeah, so that was pretty awesome, amazing, and yeah, I don't know. I am bad with talking to strangers. I'm one of those people, when you're in a room, I will sit and observe until I really feel comfortable, and then I might start talking, because I'm a pretty open person, but I don't read social cues very well, since I can't see body language and don't pick up on a lot of other things. So I'm more or less socially awkward, I guess would be the proper way. And then my husband has social anxiety. So the two of us, yeah, we just don't do as great, I guess. That's why one reason that we went on Sunday, because we knew the crowds would be less, and I don't know. Okay, so sidetrack thought. I know I'm not a knitter, and maybe that's why I don't understand this, but Stephen B., I know Stephen West. Like, I get that, because I hear that all over the place in the knitting world. But until I went to the Sticks and Strings retreat, never ever heard of Stephen B. before. Now, Stephen B. is based out of Minneapolis. So Stephen B., huge deal up at this festival, and I guess he was there and like walked down one of the aisles that was next to the booth as we were purchasing something. And yeah, I had this complete panic moment meeting Stephen from Leading Men Fiber Arts and Amber, but Stephen B. walking past me absolutely does not faze me, because I don't get it. My husband said it was kind of like an Elvis Presley like thing, and yeah, neither one of us are super big. Yeah, now I'm gonna get all the thumbs downs and dislikes, because I said I don't mind Elvis Presley, but I don't get the head over heels thing for him. My mom is a big Elvis Presley fan. I guess I don't get it. It's not like he was wearing any knitwear, as my husband put it, because of course can't see you, so don't know. But my husband said he wasn't wearing like anything knit, and he was walking around with this entourage of people like he was some celebrity, and we're just like, okay. Because yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I guess I don't understand the whole big Stephen B thing, since before February I've never heard of Stephen B, and really before last summer I'd never heard of Stephen West either. But you know, they're designers. I don't have any like physical connection to these people because they don't podcast as far as I know, and you know, I can attach to people that I've seen, I guess. And have some, even if it's a one-way relationship, I feel like I know Amber, and yeah, it's whatever. Anyways, moving onwards, let's talk about things that I bought. So yeah, it being Mother's Day weekend, and Mother's Day happened this year to be on my anniversary. It's too bad it wasn't next year, because yeah, it would have been fun to have Mother's Day anniversary on my 13-year anniversary, because this year was my 12-year anniversary. But yeah, this year was just the 12, which is still an amazing number. But yeah, so So, let's see. I already took pictures of all this stuff. But I have my little bag next to me, so I'll just pull stuff out so I can actually talk about it, because as usual, if I don't have it sitting here, I'm going to forget about it. And I'll apologize up front for any sound inequalities since I am bending down and away from the mic. Yeah, you'll get a little bit of those for farther away soundings, since this mic likes to pick up only the things that are like going directly into it. But anyways, we're going to start off with fiber because that is the first thing I pulled out of the bag. And this is 100% llama. I got 2 different colors and I got 3 ounces each because I figured 6 ounces sounds like a good amount. I don't know. I'm just making things up as I go. So right now, that's what I decided to do. So thanks, Etsy, for interrupting us. But this actually came, and I'll have to look up and insert what the monastery was called. But this is from some monks, I guess, that raised llamas. And there was a woman running the booth, so I don't know exactly a lot about the monastery that it comes from. Because we didn't even know that it was from a monastery until she's like, oh, well, if you want to pay with a credit card, you just make a donation. You go to this website and make a donation. And we're like, okay. But yeah, we had to actually have her take the credit card information down because I could have paid in cash and I probably just should have done cash, but I wanted to save the cash I had in case we ran into places where there was just no credit card option. But by that time we were getting pretty worn out, so I should have just gone ahead and done it the other way. But anyways, so I got my 6 ounces of llama. I have like a reddish brownish color. I can't remember what they called it. And I have what she called taupe, and the taupe is like a really super soft llama. This particular llama just was extra lovely, I guess. And I don't know if they came from different ones or not because they didn't have them like labeled by name or anything. All right, so yeah, I got these 6 ounces of llama, and I could always mix this with something else. I've even thought maybe that I will just go ahead and spin these up as singles and then get my alpaca out and spin that out, because I have baby alpaca in black, and I thought that actually would make a really pretty 3-ply with all 3 of those. And, you know, alpaca llamas go together. But I don't know yet. I haven't really developed anything in mind. I just got them because I wanted some llama. My husband's coworker, like I mentioned before, is obsessed with llamas. I need somewhere to put these. They're falling on me. Okay. So my husband's coworker is obsessed with llamas. And so that's kind of gotten us more looking out for llama stuff. And there was lots of alpaca stuff I could have gotten, but this llama was $4 an ounce, I think. I think it was $24. And that just seemed like a really good bargain to me. So I went ahead and just got llama. And at least this trip, I didn't get any alpaca. And then up next, we'll do the other fiber. I only got 2 things of fiber. And actually, I only bought yarn at 3 different places. So technically, I did really good, even though I did spend like, oh, what did it come up to? $150-ish. Which actually was really good. But yeah, still a lot of money. I got mohair. And if you didn't hear some of my spinning, I think I talked about it. Maybe I forgot to, because in the time when I wasn't podcasting super regularly, mohair, I had red mohair that I had gotten from Paradise Fibers, and that was like one of the favorite things that I've spun so far. But I just have 30 ounces of it spun right now because I was doing that with the spindle, and that takes super long time because I didn't have my electric spinner yet. And so one of the first places we went to had this open stock of remnants of mohair, and you could just pick out pieces that you wanted, and it was I think that was also $4 an ounce. that sound right? I had 3¼ ounces, and I paid $16.25. So whatever the math is there. It's getting too far away from me. I can't remember my numbers. But what I ended up with was I got this orange, which I thought might just go really pretty with my red. Or again, I can always mix it with something else completely different. But I got orange because this one was probably about a 3-ounce bundle by itself. And then I also got some blues because, yeah, blue is one of my favorite colors. So, and I'm showing the microphone just so you know that's why you're hearing rustling, because I'm a genius. Yeah, so I have blue. It's a light-ish blue. I don't know, because I always think blue is what the general blue is called. I consider like a light blue, which I know you're going, but Monica, you're half colorblind, so how can you tell? Trust me, it's a blue. I have pictures that I took yesterday, so hopefully I'll remember to get them edited. But yeah, so I got orange and blue mohair. And the blue is probably only like a 1/2 ounce, and the orange is like 3 ounces, or 1/4 ounce. Something like that. Somewhere in between that, because I ended up with 3¼ total. Then we'll move on to Yarny Goodness. And I got stuff from both the podcast groups that I had said that I wanted to see. And actually both these people will be in Ames, so hopefully I'll get to purchase again from them. And then one thing I got from a different place, because Bumblebee Acres, Sam wasn't in the booth. I think she might have been like right when we got there, but her and Queen Bee had walked away like as soon as we got there, so I don't know. And her sister was running the booth, and yeah, I can't see people, and I cannot for the life of me remember what she calls her. So whatever the other bee's name is, it was the one that we talked to. And she said they weren't able to get any Angora, which is what I really wanted. I'm like, bring Angora when you come to Ames. So we'll see if they remember. Yeah, so, and one of the last places we went, they had some Angora yarn. And I don't remember what the blend is of this. So I'll have to remember to have the kids tell me, because I know this was a blend. It's not 100%. Okay, a little edit in. This is from Prairie Moonrise, and it is a 15% Cormo wool and 85% Angora. I did not think it was that high of a percentage of Angora, so, and I think it was German Angora rabbit, but Jeremy couldn't read me a colorway, so you're just gonna have to go with that unless I can remember to get my husband to actually tell me what the colorway is. But this is a pretty blue. Actually, this might go a lot with that mohair. But this will be saved for December, and I might make a pair of mitts, fingerless mitts with it. That'd be kind of nice and warm. Or a cowl, scarf, hat. I already have my alpaca hat, so maybe I'll go with a cowl. But this will be for me. Like, that's why I got this blue. I really wanted to get 2 skeins of this, but it's $25 a skein. So, for that price, I could have bought myself a rabbit. Because, yes, they had bunnies. I don't think we ever went back to get the picture because my husband's feet were starting to kill him at that point. And he was going to do it. And then we got sidetracked with the llama fiber. But yeah, they had what he called open stock rabbits, because they had some rabbits out that you could pet. And I'm like, they're only $50. Can we take a bunny home? Because I can have a bunny in my yard, right? That's something like completely legitimately acceptable, is to have bunnies. I can't have like alpacas and stuff laying in my yard here, but I could have a bunny. But yeah, we do have coyotes nearby, and we've had a raccoon up on our back deck, so bunnies still might not be completely safe. But yeah. Anyways, so, and I'm saying anyways and things way too much in this episode, but yeah, that's what happens when I get really excited and can't keep my thoughts straight. I got this pretty blue Angora, and it will be something for me, but will be saved till November, December for, as you will notice, common theme yarn to table podcasts, fiber quest for the year, because November, December is the land of, what does she call it? Exotic fibers, maybe? I'm not really sure. We'll call it exotic fibers. Just kind of her examples when she originally talked about it was yak and angora. And I originally was going to buy some mink fiber. I didn't actually get the mink fiber, and I did get fiber that has yak in it, which I still hope to spin, but just in case I don't get it finished, I do have yarn now, and this is totally me, totally my color. Although I would have loved to pair it with another color. I made something kind of stripied, but that's what I have for now, and I'll have to have my husband tell me again, because I don't know if he ever actually told me what this booth was. I think it had angora in the name, or rabbits or something like that, but beyond that, I don't know what it is, because that's why we went over there, because I think it had bunny or rabbit or something in the title. And, oh, where did I put my stuff? I moved my stuff. Okay, so then my last two things would be from Bumblebee Acres, which Fiber Club has supposed to have been shipped as of today. Yay! And I'm so mad. I tried to get a sneak peek insider information, and she would not tell me. She's like, "Oh, I think we know what we're doing for those." And it's shipped today. So she obviously has already dyed it. Uh-oh. Am I missing this game? Or did I already move that one? Because I only have 3 and I should have 4. Oh, missing. There we go. Missing skein of yarn. Okay, found you. So what do you guys want first? Bumblebee Acres or Leading Men Fiber Arts? We'll do Leading Men. And again, I'm going to have to edit in what 2 of these colorways are, because I don't remember. And as I show my lovely microphone, we have this lovely, I believe it was Oranges. And I don't remember what it's called. This one was the one my husband very much enjoyed. This was in the color Radiant. So I got it for him. Actually, I might save this for Sam's socks. I don't know yet. Or maybe I could do hubby and Sam something. I don't know. But we'll see, because Sam's my nice, bright, cheerful child. Most days, unless I'm asking him to do something. Although that's true with Jeremy too. Once I ask him to do something, everything goes. Yeah, that was the bright one for hubby. And then that one was out of their discount bin, which was 20% off. So that's why I ended up getting this one and this other one, which is a nice purple blend. Again, showing my lovely microphone. This was in the color Royalty, and it is a cashmere blend. And I didn't realize that until Jeremy read it off for me. But yeah, this purple blend was the one for me, and again, out of the discount bin. I believe these are both sock weights, or fingering weights, and not sure. You know, I could even put these 2 together. My orangey and my purple, because they're complementary. They could go together for a nice shawl. I don't know, can I make a shawl? Anyone know? 2 fingering? I assume these are 100 grams. I don't even know. I don't usually pay attention because those are visual things, and I just go, yes, they're visual things. I'm going to say I just go for pretty, which is also a visual. Don't mind me, I'm just a little insane. So yeah, I got my pretty purple one for me and pretty orangish one for my husband. And then this was the reason we went back, because we had actually already been over to Leading Men when we originally found it. But I didn't want to decide until I'd seen a little more things. And this is the one we went back for. And it's, I believe it was Apocalypse, I want to say. See, I remember this one's name because this one was so pretty. And yeah, me and my husband both remembered this one. And it is really gorgeous, I think. So yeah, we had gone back. See, microphone, isn't it pretty? come back for that one. And yeah, and now as I try to grab the other two from back behind the monitor, because I can't put anything in a normal place. Okay, so that was Leading Man Fiber Arts. This was my big purchase of the day and was $70. But I got 3 skeins of hand-dyed yarn. So we'll see what those turn into. If nothing else, of course, they will become socks at some point. But hopefully I actually create other things out of my fingering weight yarn. But actually headbands out of that apocalypse would be really, really pretty. And I have made sock weight headbands before, so maybe I will do that. Although, then we have my lovely skein from Bumblebee Acres, and this is in the Night Bus from the Harry Potter line. And it was between this and Doctor Who inspired yarn, but I left it up to my husband, and of course he went with Night Bus, which actually, this has to be for Jeremy. Because Jeremy's just recently gotten into Harry Potter, and my son Jeremy, I don't know if you can tell quite from if I've posted pictures. I know there's a picture of him in my original intro, but he's not exactly the most picture happy kid. So yeah, he's just recently gotten into reading Harry Potter, and he, kid you not, just needs the scar and a pair of glasses and is Harry Potter. So it's like he has the costume for the rest of his life, and he has the crazy hair that doesn't know what it's doing and looks like it's intentional and is totally not, and we'll try to straighten it. And yeah, he's got my hair, actually. He's got awesome Spanish hair, and poor Sam has Daddy's hair, which we're always like, and it's really funny because we're always apologizing to Sam, saying, I'm sorry you have Daddy's hair, but Jeremy got Mommy's hair, and Mommy has Spanish hair. So Mommy's hair is awesome, and Daddy's hair is, well, you would think it must be the Swedish, because I think he's Swedish. He's Swedish and German. And Germans wouldn't have bad hair. So it must be the Swedish side with the bad hair? I don't know. But my hair is definitely from my dad's side. So I have the Chilean hair. But anyways, so yeah, we got Night Bus, and unless I don't know, this would make a really pretty cowl too, or scarf or something. I assume, again, this is in a fingering weight, and I assume it's a merino nylon. That's usually what they are, some kind of wool nylon blend. And that's in the color Night Bus. And now that I've been completely distracted, rambling about my purchases. So yeah, that's all I bought. In general, I spent about $25 at the places that I bought things. The one place I only spent $16.25, and then Leading Men I spent $70, but overall $25 was pretty much the average, and I didn't go absolutely crazy. Oh, I do have one more acquisition, and this was what I call my Mother's Day gift. Although technically I made my husband buy me a Mother's Day gift before we left, because we went to Menards and they had their rose, just the sticks or root stocks or whatever they are, for $5. So I got a new rose bush because I'm not sure my coral one has lasted the winter, which is probably partially Sona's fault because they were in the bathtub and she kept trying to bury herself anytime we had thunder and they were in there. So yeah, she might have killed my coral rose. But I got a Robin Hood. It's red roses, but they're in like a little bush. That's at least what he described to me. And right now it's just the stick, but I got that as my big Mother's Day present, which was $5. So when we were at the Fiber Festival, they had a lady there. I guess it's so funny because everyone talked to us like we were from Minnesota. It's like, no, we're not actually from Minnesota. We're actually from Iowa. So the lady with these baskets is just like, well, we're at the state fair too. I'm like, not my state fair. Because state fair is right next to me. But the basket I got is from Madagascar. And it's going to be my big project bag, I guess. And they have a nice drawstring cloth top and then the nice wicker sides and things. Oh, there's a pocket! I didn't even notice there was a pocket! Oh, now I even love it more. But yeah, I think this is actually the smallest size, and I still think it's huge. Well, I guess there was purses too, but I didn't want a purse. I wanted a nice project bag, and this was what they had, or at least project-ish. It didn't have to be a project bag, but that's what I'm going to use it for. And then they had bigger baskets, and we got one of those. Oh, microphone, why are you facing the computer? They had bigger baskets, and we got one of those for hubby's mom. And she's already taken it, so I can't get you a picture of that. And we actually got a skein of 100% llama that was hand-dyed, and I can't show you that. Those were actually really cheap. I should have gotten some for myself. But we got that skein for my husband's friend, so before I could get a picture of it, of course, he took it to work the next morning. So I don't have a picture of that, but that was a really pretty one too. I can't even tell you, it was Blackberry Hills, Blackberry or Black Hills, something. But yeah, that's when we were trying to purchase that, when the Stephen B guy ran through the aisle that booth was in, and just awkwardness, I guess. Yeah, that was what I purchased. So that is the reverse of my trip, because that was, well, other than the mohair was one of the first booths we saw, and I'm actually glad that I got that, because I don't think we saw any other dyed mohair that wasn't a blend. Oh, there was another shop there that I didn't actually get a chance to talk to the person running the shop, which would have been fun, because my husband said the name of the shop because he's starting to learn that he needs to do that, so I can tell if I notice them from somewhere. And he's like, Fiber Curio. I'm like, that is an Etsy shop, and that is an Iowa Etsy shop. And so he was looking more at the information. He's like, Waterloo, Iowa. I'm like, that is one of my old team members. I knew that name. So I didn't actually get to talk to the person running the shop, but it was just funny. And we almost went back there for llama, but then we found the one that had the dyed llama, because we couldn't find yarn of llama anywhere. And then when we finally did, it was that dyed stuff that was, and it was even a nice weight, because his wife is a new crocheter, so I didn't want a super fine fingering thing, because I'm like, she will never figure out how to do this well, and it'll just be frustrating. Although it is a really dark one, so maybe we should have thought twice about that, because lots of people don't like dark colors. But since, again, I crochet completely by feel, I don't think of that when I'm shopping. But yeah, so when we first got to the Sheep and Wool Festival, yes, like I said, we're talking about our adventures in reverse. We went to the demonstration booth, and I do have a video of a lady. Her name was Hazel Lutz, and she did a combing demonstration. So I will post that at the end of the video, if it came out at all, because I actually haven't watched it or looked at it or seen if I can edit it at all. Because that, I don't think I can throw into my editor to help with background sound, or the noise reduction. I don't think I can do that because I use an audio program. I don't think I can do anything with video. But we'll see how that comes out, and if I can post it or not. Or I think my husband took a couple of pictures, so if nothing else, you'll be getting pictures of the blending, combing that we watched. And then we went over to another little stand where they were doing weaving, and I actually got to do some weaving on a loom. And I do, yes, really want a loom still. And sorry, I'm being interrupted. Sorry about that, guys. I was called by Marriott because I had been selected to win something or other. Yeah, hang up. So, where were we? I did my weaving, and that was really fun. And of course, that's another $200 that I don't know when or if I'll ever have that money just lying around again, ready to use. But someday, right? There's got to be a smaller thing that I can do or get at some point. What I used was the Rigid Heddle Double Heddle Loom, I think. Kromsky? I know that much. It was Kromsky. I'm pretty sure. Then you're all going to laugh at me because the pictures aren't going to show the same thing that I'm talking about. But yeah, that was fun. And it was actually the actual, she's like, oh, you're a natural. I'm like, you're just shoving a thing back and forth. But it's more of a coordination thing for me because you have to step and down on the pedal, put the thing through, pull the thing back, then reverse your pedals. And yeah, so the actual coordination part was the thing that I was, trying not to get messed up on, but not trying to go too fast so that I would screw it up. So it wasn't difficult. It was just awkward to be trying to do it while trying to talk and learn something. So, anyways, so yeah, that was fun. And I think that's all we actually, and that again was someone who thought that I was from Minnesota and was trying to give me all this information about things that they have available in the area. And I was like, I'm from Iowa, and I'm sure we have some stuff like this, but I don't live, or I'm not able to transport myself to get to these things. So yeah, so that was fun. And then, I don't know, I couldn't get my Pokemon Go to work while I was there, so I lost all that walking and wandering and stops and things. I didn't get to do a lot of that since I didn't have... My cell phone didn't want to work real well out there, which was funny because my husband's wanted to work better, and technically his is off Sprint towers and mine's off Verizon, which usually, at least here, Verizon's better, but maybe Sprint's better in Minneapolis area because I know my friend that's from that area, or at least from Minnesota, really favors Sprint. So that just might be why she favors it, because it's better in Minnesota. And anyways, if you guys were here just for fibery goodness, you'll probably want to skedaddle now and move on because I'll just pretty much ramble about the rest of my fun anniversary weekend away with my husband. So anyways, I'm not offended if you were just here for yarn talk and, seeing the yarn hoarder and stuff. But yeah, so on Saturday, we ended up going to Valley Fair. Valley Fair had an opening gate or opening weekend special. And so our tickets were only $30 a person, and we pretty much got there at opening. We actually paid for the upgraded parking, and I don't think we actually parked in the upgraded parking because there was no information about where to park. And we were there so early that, there was plenty of parking. And so I kind of was not as happy that they didn't have that better marked, because it would have been nice, since we paid for it, to at least have used it. Or them to go, oh, you have the upgraded parking, please go this lane. Because I know that's what they do at ours, is you take this lane for different things and the other lane for normal parking. But we were there early enough that we pretty much got on 4 of their actual roller coasters within the first hour and a half, which was fun, but I can't do a whole lot of spinny anymore. I used to be able to do a whole bunch of that back to back, but now I can't, thanks to having children and screwing up my... I think it screwed up my inner ear things, because I know my grandpa had inner ear issues. So, whereas I like the up and down, I can't do the spin, if that makes any sense, but all these smaller parks have lots of spinny with any up and down because they don't have the room for the up and down. So I really enjoyed Wild Thing and Renegade, and we did get to do each of those twice, although by the time we actually got back around to doing the roller coasters for the second time, it had started its perpetual spitting for the rest of the afternoon. And it was cold out. So, yeah, when you're riding a roller coaster, I don't know how fast they went, but when you're going in open air vehicle at, let's say, at least car speed, with little freezing raindrops hitting your face, it's a whole new element to thrill seeking or thrill riding. It was really funny because our ongoing joke between me and my husband was the little ice balls, and I told him that's what I was going to call this episode. I'm going to call it Little Ice Balls, but only us two will understand it. Because yeah, it was definitely a different experience. And he's like, I like roller coasters and all, but I'm really not into the little ice balls in my face. The whole entire time. And those were, of course, the funnest ones, were the ones where we were going to be just pelted with these little ice. And it wasn't that they were ice balls, it was just cold, and they felt more like sleet, like if you were just at a normal speed and you were getting sleeted on, but they were just raindrops. But since we were going so fast, they felt like they were more solid, I guess. Yeah, it was really fun to actually get to go to an amusement park and be done with stuff that fast, because if we had taken the boys, of course, there would have been all the little rides that we would have had to go on and side attractions and things. And it was so fun because we'd walk around, and at least there, my Pokemon Go, because I guess my husband's worked. I don't know if he used it during the actual Shepherd's Harvest Festival, but my Pokemon Go worked in the amusement park. So we'd walk around and everyone would see, well, especially my husband's, because he actually wears his on his wrist. And we have the Pokemon Go Plus, I think is what it's called. The little button you press you can set it to do different things, but mainly we use it to get the stops while you're not paying attention. And so people would see that. And so it was just funny how many times this weekend that little button would spark conversation with someone. And that was just kind of fun, because even people that don't play currently, they'll see that button like, oh, that's Pokemon. And somebody even at the Fiber Festival, like an older lady, saw that. I think it was at one of the soap booths, and said something. Oh, that reminds me. So I found out something really, really crazy while we were at the festival. If you remember, I've said something about how I don't have my sense of smell functioning correctly anymore since my, I guess, bronchitis, pneumonia, spell / asthma kick, or whatever it is, from last summer. So the first vendor's barn or whatever, there was a soap thing, and we went around, and I'm like, yeah, I can't smell it. So my husband's looking at stuff because he's really into the soapy. He's more into candles, but they didn't have any candles, which we knew when we went there, that from looking at the vendor's list, that there wasn't any candles, but there was lots of soap. So he was looking at soaps and things. So I'm like, yeah, I can't smell it. So by the time we went into the last vendor's barn, we had gotten a frozen smoothie thing from Cold Stone. They had a Cold Stone, I think it was Cold Stone, vendor food cart out there. And we went in and we were looking at soap, and I'm like, I can smell these. And it was just totally bizarre to me, because I've been walking around for months not able to smell anything, or randomly able to smell things. And as soon as I was eating / drinking, because it was still fairly frozen, so we're eating with a spoon at that point, it's like I can actually smell things again. And that was just totally bizarre to me. And my husband was trying to jack it up to being in my head or something. And so one of the places, which actually I didn't see that in my bag. I wonder where that went. Oh no, it's in there. One of the places was handing out samples. And so when he first got the sample, I could smell it. I can almost kind of smell it now. But I could smell it then. And when we got in the car later, I'm like, yeah, totally can't smell it anymore. So I don't know what it was. If it's the cold is like shrinking something and making it so I can smell again. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I could smell again when I was eating that smoothie, which is just really, really bizarre to me that would make such a big difference. Anyways, what am I talking about? Walking around the park, getting to do things because we didn't have boys. Sona, what are you grumping about? Sona was not happy when we picked her up. She did not want to talk to us. I don't know. Maybe it was because I smelled like lots of funny things. But yeah, she didn't come right over and kind of acted. I think it was more the different smells, because she kind of acts the same way towards my father-in-law when he comes over, and he's a trapper / he has 200 acres, so they've got to do stuff to help control stuff there. So his big thing is trying to catch the coyotes. And so, yeah, Sona is not happy with him whenever he's got coyote smells on him. So I don't know, maybe it was part of that because I have llama and sheep and I was petting bunnies and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so I cannot remember what I was talking about with the amusement park anymore, but yeah, it was just a lot of fun and a lot of walking. Oh, I was talking about Pokemon Go, but oh, that's what it was. Okay, so the Pokemon Go was at a soap booth, and that's where I got sidetracked. But yeah, so we ended up leaving. It was opening weekend there, and that particular day they were having music festival, so by afternoon time it was really filling up with high school-ish aged kids. And as much as we love roller coasters and all, by that time anyone who was still riding things because of the drizzle was all these high schoolers on the rides that we would want to ride. So the lines were getting actually longer as the weather got worse, and yeah, it just wasn't pleasant. It wasn't like unpleasant because, especially after I made my husband go back out and get a sweatshirt, but it wasn't as nice as it was earlier. And so yeah, we ended up leaving there probably about 3:34, and then we ended up going to IKEA, which I've never been to IKEA before. As I've said, I have a friend from the Minnesota area. Hi, Sona. And she just raves and raves and raves about IKEA, and so she's like, oh, well, you need at least 3 hours. Well, yeah, we didn't need 3 hours, but it was definitely a different kind of experience, and I'm not crazy about square-shaped things, and a lot of their, at least furniture-wise, is square-shaped, and I'm not a huge fan of her couch, which is IKEA, because I don't think it's comfortable at all. So I'm not turned on a lot by the furniture side of things. But we went, the first thing we see is the baby tableware stuff, and I had to stock up on that because their plates are washable and microwavable, or dishwashable and microwavable, and so I had to get the babies, well, at least the plasticware. I got a set of 6 plates and a set of 6 bowls, and those were each $2.50. And then they also had silverware that was just metal and not something with a plastic handle, because even though I like my cheap babyware that I've gotten before, it turns out that by some point the handles break off because they're just cheap. Or another kind that we've had, they just chew on, and, you know, like with a rubber kind of grip or whatever. And so they just ruined it that way. So it was nice to find some like nicer, heavier, more solid tableware that the boys will be able to use. And that was fork, spoon, knife set. I think my husband might have said it said for ages older than they actually were, but they want to hold on to things now. So I'm not going to give them the knife, of course, unless, you know, it's just super supervised play, but if we're cutting something and they want to cut and they're being supervised, I will probably let them, you know, cut cheese with a knife or something. Or mash up a cracker. Who knows? But yeah, but fork and spoon, they're fairly well versed with already. So that's mainly what I got in their upper level. And then when we went down a level was all the kitchenware. And so we did actually get some different cooking things. And I can't remember what my husband exactly got. I know I made him get the push pot molds. So, because I figured if nothing else, that's a popsicle that the babies can actually handle, because I can wrap the base of it with something so they can hold it. So I might need to crochet something, actually. It's a good idea that I just had to go around those, and then so they can push it up and, you know, popsicle thing, because otherwise everything else, like I have a set and we haven't actually used it yet, of just the plastic thing that you dip, but then we have to have room in the freezer, and we never seem to have that. But these are a thing like that just have a little plug at the top, and then are just like a cylinder shape, or, you know, the I can't think of the actual term, but the triangle cylinder shape that you can just press from the bottom up with. And so I thought that would be really good for them, and it was only a 4-pack. I probably could have gotten 2 of those, but I know we only got 1. I think there were some other kitchenware things that my husband got because he's the cook, and I don't really pay attention. I ask him if he thinks he needs it. I know he got something that was like 89 cents. And then the other big, it was funny because we spent only $66 there, which I thought was hilarious because I'm like, this isn't even as bad as a Target trip. Because everyone calls Target the $100 store, and we didn't spend $100. But like half of that was they had dog beds, and so we got Sona a new dog bed cushion thing, and I think that was $20, unless it was 30, but I think it was only 20. But yeah, so that was my fun trip to IKEA. And then we were trying to figure out somewhere to eat dinner, because originally we thought about going to IKEA, and then if the rain had stopped, going back to Valley Fair, because they're not that far apart. But at least according to the app, it was still raining there, so we decided it wouldn't be worth it. And so my husband was trying to find somewhere to eat. My friend had suggested some places, but one of them was downtown, even though it sounded amazing. And I wish we would have gone when we were downtown. But the other thing was more American style food, and that's not exactly what we wanted. At one point, my husband was convinced that we were going to eat Indian food, and the place that he had found had belly dancers. And I'm like, well, that's a story to tell. Yeah, it's my 12th wedding anniversary, and we went to this Indian restaurant with belly dancers. But we didn't actually go there. Instead, he thought, well, let's go to this Greek restaurant. This sounds good. And so it wasn't that far away, and he put it into the thing, and we drive up to this like run-down-ish strip mall thing, and it's a gas station. And I wish I could remember what it's actually called, but it is a chain. I don't know if the chain is typically a gas station restaurant combo, or if that's just this particular location. But he was half tempted to just say, you know, it was either going to be really good or really scary. And the location was kind of scary. But when we walked in, because I'm like, you have to give it a try, because the chances are it's super good. And so we walk in, and like half if not more than half of the actual space is set up with tables. I'm like, that is a good sign, because if you were a gas station, you do not want all of your real estate being tables. You know, you're not that kind of location. So I'm like, that is a good sign if they have not just started taking out tables and putting up, you know, other convenience-y food things. But yeah, the presentation of the food was absolutely amazing, and it was very delicious. So I guess I win there because I'm the one. And originally we had gone there because it was like half the price of the Indian place that he had found. And yeah, so it was cheap, good food. And the only negatives that my husband saw on the reviews was that the service wasn't the greatest. And, you know, we could see that. They were, I don't like to use the word foreign, but, you know, clearly not Americans, if that makes any sense. I don't even know if I'd call it similar to my dad running somewhere, because my dad is fairly friendly and things. And it wasn't that they were unfriendly. They were just kind of quiet, I guess, if that sounds, and more reserved. So we could see where people would call it, you know, not helpful service, but they were plenty nice enough to us. They were just quieter. So yeah, that was a fun, good meal, and not even that expensive. And that was my Saturday. And then after that, we ended up going to Target and picking up swimsuits for me and my husband, because when my husband had booked our hotel, he pretty much went for one of the cheapest places that he could find, and he went with things that were recommended or had some kind of partnership with Valley Fair, because that was his big pull to go, was because I told him he could go to an amusement park. And yeah, so when he booked it, he didn't remember seeing anything about a pool, so we didn't think there was one. And there was actually a nice little pool and hot tub, and I'm like, well, if we're done early and it's not closed, we can just go and relax in the hot tub for a little bit, because I was having some shin pain, I guess, from trying to walk too fast, basically, for the last 2 days. And yeah, so we went to Target and we each got a swimsuit, and we went back to the hotel and found out that the pool was open till 11. So that was amazing, because then we could definitely go down and just soak for a little bit. And then, yeah, so that was my Saturday. It was just kind of doing all that in one day. It sounds like a lot, but it just, I guess everything went really fast when you don't have kids to like usher and try to work around. And then Friday was the day, of course, like I said, I'm talking to you in reverse. It was the day we got there. And what we did was, when the Bigs walked to school, and I think they actually, no, they didn't walk that day. They got a ride to school from one of the neighbors, because it was actually raining that morning. And so they didn't, because they were saying how they were going to ride home that night. And I'm just like, you don't know, or because the way they made it sound was that Nanny was going to pick them up from school. And we're like, no, Nanny's going to pick you up from the house. And they're like, no, we're going to ride our bikes to school. It's like, yeah, you just let the weather dictate that, because, yeah, they didn't get to ride their bikes to school, so they didn't get to ride home. They had to walk home. But, yeah, so we left after they went to school, and we took we had to take Sona up to my husband's dad's so she could have the weekend there. And then we took the littles up to my husband's mom's. And so they were up there, and then they'd have to come back down to get the Bigs later. But, you know, that was a whole lot of time for us to be up in the Twin Cities before we would have otherwise gotten to be. So we got them dropped off, and then we had a reservation to be at, I'm not going to say it right, the Brazilian Steakhouse that's downtown in Minneapolis. And so that was our big, like, fancy anniversary dinner. And there's not a Brazilian steakhouse that's anywhere near here. The first one that we had gone to was one of our trips down to Orlando, and that is still probably one of the best ones that we've been to, although this will make number 3. So it's not like we've been to a lot of them. But this is the big chain. I think it's... I am not going to try to say it because I don't know how it's spelled, so I'm not sure which word comes first. But my husband said there's one... I think in Minnesota, and there's one in Kansas City, and that's like the closest locations to us for a Brazilian steakhouse. So he had looked it up, and Fridays, if you go for lunch price, it's only $35 a person, which is still expensive, but a lot better price. So that was our goal, was to get up to the Twin Cities by 2 so that we could go get our Brazilian steakhouse. And so, yeah. We got to do that, and apparently if you're celebrating something, they give you dessert for free, which was awesome and something I didn't know about. So we got a anniversary dessert, and they even write happy anniversary on it, and I should have a picture, but if not, I'll have to steal it from my husband's phone. I don't remember whose phone got the picture. So we got our free dessert even with our little meal. And we got the caramelized pineapple something was our dessert. But my absolute favorite thing at these Brazilian steakhouses is to get the bread. It's felt flour, I believe. And what I've told my husband is this is the closest I can come to Chilean pan or bread. And it's not the same thing. And it's been so long since I've had true Chilean pan that... Yeah, I went to Chile when I was in 4th grade. So it's been several years since I was in Chile and had actual fresh bread. But yeah, you don't get that here. And I know my dad said a lot of it is we don't have the right cooking methods, like our ovens are different or something. And I assume there's probably a difference in flour because that's the thing with this bread is it's made out of a different flour. And so, yeah, that is one of my favorite things about going to these places is just to go for this bread. And, yeah, so that was why I wanted to go, was for the bread. And my husband wants to go for the big hunks of meat that come around to your table, which if you haven't been to a Brazilian steakhouse, they walk around with these sticks of the meat, and then they cut it right off for you, and you pick it up with these little... tong things and put it on your own plate. And at this chain, they have a little disc that you flip over. At the other ones, well, the one we went to, it was more of you went up to a window and they put stuff on your thing, I think. Did they do that with the meats? I think that's how they did the meats, because you could have different meat options that you paid for. And the other one, they just walked around and just told you what they had. But yeah, that was what we did for lunch on Friday. And then we walked downtown Minneapolis for a while, which in Des Moines, they're trying to get a skywalk system going, but it's not very developed and it's been shut down for quite a while they're replacing buildings and things. But the Minneapolis one, there was all sorts of shops and things. And so that was just an interesting walk around and things. And just something we hadn't, like, I read some of these books where they talk about, like, apocalyptic times and things about, you know, underground systems or not going outside and all this stuff. And I'm just, it's not something that's really connected in my head how this really works until I was walking around in that skywalk system and, you know, where you could really just walk around a building and not ever go outside. And all of a sudden, all this stuff that I've read in the past just like clicked in my head on how it could actually physically work because I just hadn't been in a situation where that was a thing. So that was fun. And then after that, we went to Mall of America. Oh, I forgot. When we were at Valley Fair, I caught my shiny Magikarp. Now he wasn't any good, but I got my shiny Magikarp, and that is the first shiny Magikarp my family has gotten. Although I do not have enough candy yet to evolve into the Gyarados because I was stupid. And before I had and Ella, if you're still with me, you'll probably understand this. They introduced a new quest thing, and to get your Mew, there was an evolve Magikarp, and I was stacking up candy for that. And one morning I was half asleep and went to just delete a Magikarp, and instead I evolved it. And so luckily it was a Wonder, or I don't know. Wonder is what they're called in the blue team if they're a highest of the good percentage, because you'd have your average, your good, and then your best, and so it's in the best percentage group for, I don't know. That's more important in other Pokemon games and not as important in this version on Pokemon Go, but yeah, so I evolved one while I was trying to save up candy for the quest because I didn't have the quest mission to evolve a Magikarp yet, and so now I'm back down to less than half the candy I need for the Magikarp. But yeah, I got my shiny. But when we went to the Mall of America on Friday, my husband was able to get the legendary that's out right now. We actually got to a raid as it started, and I guess Mall of America has to be a place that there's a lot of spoofers, because there was not 20 people that we could tell that were playing the game. There was some other people there that were playing that we could tell, but there definitely wasn't as many as it said was in our raid party. So yeah, he caught it. I did not catch it because it broke out, and I eventually just gave my phone to my husband because it was kind of hard for me to see, and he kept moving around. I don't want to say what that one. It's Latios, something like that. It's a legendary right then, because it might have changed now. But yeah, my husband caught his, but I did not catch mine. Bummer. And we got to go to Eddie Bauer when we were at the Mall of America, which is one of my favorite places to shop. And so I did basically get you a haul picture of that. I forgot to take a picture of my book bag, and my pants were on. So you can't see those unless you look at my picture with Amber and Steven, because I am wearing them that day too. And yeah, so I am a big fan of Eddie Bauer clothing, but I will tell you, you do have to make sure you watch what you are buying, because some stuff is just super, super trendy. And that's not the stuff necessarily that I would rather go for. I go for very certain fits and things, and a lot of times the pants and stuff will be too big. But right now they have these, they call them jogging pants, and they're a lot like the shorts that I like. So I tried those on, and I'm a short fit normally, so these actually fit me, which made me super excited. And then the shorts that I got are the same style as a pair of shorts that I got last summer. And yeah, so I knew that I wanted another pair of those, and all their women's clothing was 40% off. I think it might still be, because I assume that was Mother's Day weekend, but when I looked it up yesterday, it looked like online it still said that they were 40% off. And then I got a new tank top because I figured this would look really good with my red cardigan over it. And then I got a 3/4 sleeve top because I don't have a lot of that kind of stuff that still fits me decently. And I just don't have a lot of clothes that have survived, for a long time, because I don't get a lot of clothes normally. And yeah, pretty much a lot of my stuff right now that I wear gets worn so heavily, and at our old house our washer ate clothes, and a lot of that had to do with water pressure issues, which we didn't know was part of the city's fault. But yeah, so we lost a lot of clothing, because I used to get a lot of things when we went on trips like this at Macy's, because I found I really liked the fit of that stuff, but a lot of that I lost to the washing machine. And so yeah, now I'm totally into Eddie Bauer things, but like I said, I'm very picky. So there's a lot of things at Eddie Bauer I won't buy. But when I find something I like, even though it's more expensive than going to places like Target or Walmart, it lasts a lot better. Like the pair of pants that I have right now that are from Eddie Bauer, I've worn for probably 3 years. And they're just like a nylon-y material. But they haven't worn through yet, which just amazes me. And they have like a thicker knee patch versus the rest of the leg. It's not even 2 layers. It's just like that's a cutout part that's just thicker. But those are the ones I really enjoy before. But these new pants I got have an elastic band instead of a buttoned band for the waist. So I think I really like those a lot. And the shorts that I like also have an elastic band, but they have a tie, so it looks more, I guess, like regular zip-up, button-up pants or shorts. But yeah, I really like the fit of those. And yeah, so, and then the other thing about the Mall of America is they will be opening a Wahlburgers here pretty soon. And my husband, working for the company that is in charge of their Wi-Fi, basically. So we had to explore and find the Wahlburgers, and it was really funny because he's like, they did not need 2 access points or something. It was just hilarious because nobody else, he's like, I want to go over and make sure that you can't access things that you shouldn't be able to access from the Wi-Fi. And it was like, where the actual location isn't that far from the amusement park section. And we could literally, he's like, they did not need 2 access points because we were at the amusement park thing, and he could still get the Wahlburgers Wi-Fi. So that was just funny because he's like, it would have been a lot simpler, but they insisted that they needed 2 access points or something. I don't know. I'm not the network administrator, but yeah, Hy-Vee is controlling the Wi-Fi for that location. And the ones in the Midwest, I want to say. I don't know, because there's more than one company that is controlling different things for different areas. But that'll be, I think, the first Wahlburgers in the Midwest, possibly. And then there's one that's going to open nearer to my house, but I don't know when that one's scheduled to open. But the one in the Mall of America is scheduled to open later this month, because it would have been awesome if it was supposed to open like that weekend that we were there, because there is the chance that we could have had our inside connection to get in. But yeah, not open yet. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to share with you, or if I've already talked your ear off plenty. I think that's about it. Oh, I did finish my Montreal sweater or coat. I guess it's called the Montreal coat. And there are some things I would do differently if I were to make this again. But I'll probably get more into that into an actual normal episode instead of this rambly anniversary weekend special. But yeah, I think that's all I have that I'm going to share with you this week, guys. And as always, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can follow me as Moe's Crochet, MoesCrochet, on many platforms such as Etsy and Instagram and Pinterest, I think, as well as Hooked on Moe's, which is HOOKEDONMOEZ, and that is also on Etsy or Facebook or Goodreads. I'm Moe's Crochet. Hooked on Moe's Twitter. That's the other one. That's Hooked on Moe's. Oh, and I believe my Pokemon Go handle is also Hooked on Moe's. Anyways, guys, if you liked this episode, I would appreciate it if you would hook the like button and subscribe. Talk to you later, guys.
So what I'm making is called top. And top is a preparation of the fibers where they're all aligned. in the same direction. And it's good. It's good also. It's good for making a preparation for making lace weight yarn and sock yarn and really strong warp for weaving. If you used a long fiber, these are short fibers. But if you combed a really long fiber,